the culture or our Southern University college tax force. And some of our members coming in.
That shot was supposed to catch that sound.
On
Yeah. But don't worry about
business
it.
development agenda. And that we're gonna want to introduce, members of our task force. And we'll do so by name, since we have not here. But, we will begin with this. Among those, John Ann Smith, who chairs the Southern Michigan Board of Supervisors Academic Affairs Committee.
Okay. I'll just turn the camera up.
The Honorable Mabel Gaines, We'll call to order the Southern University College Task Force. At this time, we'd like to call the roll. Sorry.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Dr. Leon Tarver, second.
Here.
Mr. Reggie Abraham. Here. Mrs. Maple Gaines. Here. Mr. Alfred Burrell.
I'm not.
Dr. Anthony Achidi. Mr. Sean Inman. Dr. Anthony Jackson.
Here.
Mr. Aaron Manzi. Mr. Chris Matthew. Mr. Paul Matthews. Mrs. Susanna Showen. Here. Dr. Morgan Sandoval.
Here.
Mrs. Ann Smith. Dr. Michael Stubblefield.
Here.
Dr. Scott Wicker. Dr. Laura Young.
Thank you very much, Ms. Street. At this time, I'd like to ask if there are any public comments relative to any item on the agenda. Oh, sorry. I already adopted it. Sorry.
And this is.
It's time to get a motion to adopt the agenda. And moved and second by our Vice Chair, Matthews. All of those in favor, let it know, sign of aye. Those opposed, ayes have it. So at this time, we go back to public comments again. Are there any public comments at this time? Hearing and seeing none, we go advance to item 5, scope of work. Falls on the chair. A month ago, when our chairman called to say that there had been a deep discussion among board members and supporters to look at ways in which to improve the quality of life and the quality of the educational and intellectual experience of this university on behalf of our students. As we talked about that world that our students come from and the world here on this campus that they come to and the world that they must re-enter, it was apparent to us that we needed to revisit our mission, revisit our policies, revisit our strategies, revisit our goals. That has to be done periodically. In some instances, we've responded to the Board of Regents, which has from time to time required all institutions and our systems to develop strategic plans. But as you look back over that, one of the failures of the idea
Scott already has
is the lack of continuity
three
in
and
policy.
presentation.
That from one change in president to another, from one change from chancellor to another, that all gets lost. If you went back and looked at all the plans of the whole 40 years, they all look strong, they all look very good. The problem is, every time there's a change in administration, the new administration comes in and virtually almost starts all over again. And that's what I mean by the continuity. I'm reminded of something that Dr. Cinnamon told me when I first became president. And he was among the last deans of the junior division. Now, some of you may not even know what the junior division is, but it was a precursor to what you call a university college. And in those days, this was created back in the 70s, I think 1970s. I think some of you so young, that's a little distant time, closer to it. But it was about what sort of operation was this university going to extend to all our students and to our faculty in order to produce the products we wanted. And when I asked him to try to describe the kinds of activities and the things he did and the staff they had supported, it looked very different than what we see today. And then somewhere around 2000, I guess in the 2000s, we moved away from that. And we created, and what we did was to create the university college and subsume the other group, the freshman seminars and the freshman participation. Now maybe that was an attempt to say, well, look, maybe put too much focus on the freshmen And now, what about the secondary student? If you go look back at the record in terms of dropout rates and the failure of retention, what you're gonna see is that after that first semester, that first year, we were losing a lot of students. Why were we losing them? You know, were we nurturing them? Were we really addressing their needs? And how were we going to determine what that was? Was it always come from protest? Would we simply wait around to see if students like something or dislike it, and then wait for them either to rebel or at least to complain? And so in that regard, it seems to me that there's an organized way of doing that. Some of you have suggested in different conversations that we needed to do a better job with the use of data and intel in order to determine the manner of student that comes here, the manner of student we want to come here, and to look at the circumstances. Do we have the resources in place to provide them what they need as opposed to what someone wants? And of course, when you think about national policy, when you think about state policy, when you think about the local school system, it really tells us, once again, we have to look across the board, not only within the university, but outside the university, not just within the state, but across the nation. And then see what other schools, other systems are doing in order to provide a better future for the students that come to their institutions. So what we tried to do within the format for today's task force meeting and the embodiment of the 4 or 5 speakers we have here was to take the 3 primary areas of the charge on the chair and then see if we could find a way of aligning your expertise and your interests in the greater symmetry. And so what we did was come up with what we call working groups, and we had 3 working groups. Let's see where we have those. Is Miss Goya back there? So we will get some explanation about the working groups from the presentations. Now, the presentations are well thought out. We've sat with each of them individually and as a group and tried to decide which was the best approach to take. And so what you're going to hear is a response to that. The beginning of that will be led by Dr. Larry Young, Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs.
Hello? Hey.
Oh, there,
Hmm?
yes. Dr. Young, please come forward and share with us.
Okay, I'm listening to you now. All right.
It's a great day to be a Jaguar.
Wow.
Well, I am Laura Young, and I am a spring '93 graduate of this great institution. My heart bleeds blue and gold, and there is no other place in this world where I would rather serve. I currently serve as the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, and during this presentation, I would like to give you just a glimpse of the work that we do on a daily basis. Next slide, please. So while we're waiting, let me just say to you, Dr. Tarver, thank you so very much for your leadership, for taking the charge to lead this timely task force, Vice Chair Abraham, and to all the members of this task force. I do look forward to working with you as we work to strengthen Southern University. So during this presentation, we'll talk a little about President Chill's 3 strategic pillars. I'll give you an overview of our degree programs at Southern. We'll talk about goals, objectives, and action plans, the ongoing work in academic affairs. And then I will engage you with any questions that you may have. So the mission of academic affairs is to provide every scholar with a high quality education and to work diligently to foster an environment of academic excellence and innovation so that every graduate is prepared for the workforce and prepared to pursue lifelong learning. And our vision is to be a leading institution, one that's recognized for its academic rigor, its impactful research, and one that engages with the community. So the core values that we display all the time, we operate in excellence, integrity. We work diligently to make sure that innovation exudes through our academic offerings. We collaborate across the university, and we're working very, very hard to foster an environment of collegiality, even within the faculty senate. My dear friend, Dr. Eugene. He's a sociologist and he loves to argue. So the structure of academic affairs, this is just a small snapshot of the hierarchy within the office. I couldn't fit all of them on one slide. So just to give you an overview, I serve as the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. There is a person who serves, Dr. Bean, as the Interim Executive Director for Stakeholder Engagement. In other words, she's my executive assistant. We have Dr. Mensah, Patrick Mensah, who serves as the Senior Associate Vice Chancellor for Faculty Research and Development. He's in the audience, Dr. Mensah, if you can stand, please. Dr. Scott Wicker, who's a member of the task force, serves as our Associate Vice Chancellor for Accountability and Accreditation. We also have Dr. Gigi Weaver-Meyer, who serves as our Assistant Vice Chancellor for Academic Innovation, and Dr. Karen Jackson, who serves as the Interim Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Success. So I call this group the A-Team because they are just that, the A-Team. We oversee all of the academic units, all of the 6 colleges at Southern University, in addition to the academic support services and all of those entities that fall under student success. Next slide. So 3 strategic pillars. These were designed by President Shields from the first time that I heard him speak, and these have been our guiding work. One that focuses on student success, just making sure that our students achieve high levels of academic performance as they matriculate through Southern University, that we consistently engage with our local community as stewards of place, and that we work tirelessly to make sure that we diversify our revenue streams, multiple streams of income, so that we're not so tuition dependent. So those 3 pillars guide our daily work. So the academic offerings at Southern consist of, we offer 3 certificates, 36 undergraduate programs, 50 master's degree programs, and 6 doctoral programs for a total offering of 60 degree programs at Southern. So we have an expansive academic enterprise at Southern University. So our goals for this fiscal year are 3. And actually these have been our goals for probably about the last 1.5 years to 2. 1, to increase student progression. So we still look at retention rates, but we're more so focused on progression. Because when you think about those terms in and of themselves, a student can be retained within Southern University, and they can be retained year after year after year after year, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're making adequate progress towards degree completion. So we have chosen to focus on progression, because if a student progresses, they're automatically retained and they automatically complete within the 4 years, which is one of the metrics of the formula funding per the Board of Regents. The second goal is to make sure that we are increasing opportunities for faculty success and sense of belonging. And third, building a culture for strategic data leadership. So I'll go into these 3 goals in just a bit of detail. So the first is increasing our progression rates. So our objective is to increase from about 21% to about 26% for greater student success. So how are we doing this? We are accomplishing this objective through our Center for Student Success. So the center has been in existence for a while, but we're strengthening it to make sure that our students are making adequate progress towards degree completion. We have a tutoring center that is located on the 4th floor of our library. We just received a significant contribution from one of our business and industry partners to make sure that we are strengthening that tutoring center and offering more assistance for more disciplines. We're including supplemental instructors into our tutoring center. So while the research says that supplemental instructors are those peer tutors who provide support to students outside the classroom, our focus has been on making sure that we have faculty as supplemental instructors so that our students can engage with our faculty outside of the classroom in a less restrictive environment. We just added 6 academic advisors to the 6 that we had. So we now have 12 academic advisors, and those academic advisors just went through 2 great weeks of onboarding. We have a system that is called EAB Navigate 360, and within that system, we actually monitor student progress. So those students who are in danger of not progressing successfully, faculty are sent alerts. And it is up to the faculty member to make sure that that student is contacted and that the faculty member is keeping track of the student's progress so that the Center for Student Success can intervene and try and save that student from possible probation or suspension. So 3 critically important programs that we just implemented, and ones that I'm really excited about. The first is Pathways to Progress. So these are for the students who are on academic probation. They didn't make the GPA, the required 2.0, and they're put on probation. So these students are contacted and actually immersed in a supportive environment through boot camps. We work with them to set goals. We monitor their progress. We work with them on skills building, like time management, study strategies, academic resources, a growth mindset, and one that focuses on motivation. They are engaged in 3 coaching sessions per semester and also receive 2 support service engagements such as tutoring, advising, and counseling. So that's our Pathways to Progress project for students who are on probation warning. Now those students who choose to move to the next step, which would be placed on probation, we have the Jaguar Reset Academic Intervention Plan. Now this group of students who are on probation, these are our academically challenged students, and we help them by developing recovery strategies, such as individualized academic recovery plans. We work with them on skills building and helping them to develop effective study habits. We engage them with coaching and accountability and goal tracking, and we have regular progress checkups and mid-semester evaluations just to make sure that they stay on track.
When you hit, you turn right, you will see
we don't get to save everyone. And we do have students who are placed on suspension, which means that they have to sit out of the semester. They have to sit out of the university for 1 semester. That hurts my heart because when you think about the students who we serve, when they're suspended, what do they do? Where do they go if they even have a home to go to? Primarily working fast food or other jobs just to survive, but what are they doing to academically prepare themselves to return to Southern and staying connected to the university? So we came up with a program that's called the Bridge to the Rebound program, and that is in collaboration with our Alumni Federation through the foundation. So it's a new program. We're still trying to work through the legality of it and the structure of it, but the intent is to make sure that those students who are suspended, because we are Southern, we are the Jaguar Nation, we have alums across this world, just depending on where that suspended student is, our goal is to connect that student with an alumni group in that area to make sure that their skills are strengthened and to make sure that they stay connected with us so that they can return to us. Next slide. Okay, so here's a glimpse into our current data as it relates to progression. So remember I told you we focus on progression. How much time do I have left to talk? I'm sorry, I didn't keep track. How many? A few more? Okay, a few more minutes. Okay, so progression. Here are our progression rates. I have a printout of this presentation so that you can take a closer look at it. So from the fall of 21 through the fall of 24, this chart, this table denotes the percentage of our students who progress at 30 credit hours, which would have been at the end of the first year, at the end of the second year at 60, at the end of the third at 90, at the end of the fourth, 120. So our goal is to make sure that our students complete, if at all possible, within 4 years, 120 hours. So our numbers are rather low, but we're working hard to strengthen them. Next slide. So our next goal is to increase opportunities for faculty success and sense of belonging. So the complementary center that was stood up, the Center for Student Success for students, the Institute for Teaching and Learning Excellence for faculty. So this is where faculty engagement and involvement, this is where it rests. So we've started with academic recognition and celebration programs of our faculty. We had a really nice reception during our opening ceremony this semester. We're moving into AQ certification, which is the higher ed teacher certification, comparable to K-12 certification. We're making sure that we stay connected with our faculty and building community amongst the faculty. We're launching the Vice Chancellor Fellows Leadership Program so that we have succession plans in place and developing our leaders internally. And we work very, very diligently to make sure that we diversify our revenue and provide funding opportunities for our faculty to receive professional development through research grants and other opportunities. So we do have a number of funded opportunities. And I have one more slide. The last slide focuses on data governance. Dr. Wicker and his team working very hard to make sure that our banner system, our very important banner system, is producing clean data so that we provide our deans and our chairs with data at their fingertips so that they can lead and manage their units, so that we have clean data and so that we can keep accurate track of exactly where our students are. So I am really excited about the work of this task force because I know that Southern will only grow stronger. And I will entertain any questions that you may have.
My question, is that those are all great programs that are placed, for student success. But how are we going to ensure that those students who actually need them show up and are brought to those places?
Yep, so we have a campaign, an awareness campaign that's ongoing because we found that most of our students, most of our faculty didn't even know about the programs that we offer. So we have a massive campaign going on. We meet with the SGA. How can you meet? Every other week, once a month? Yeah, we meet with SGA quite frequently to make sure that they are aware, and then working with our faculty to make sure that they can include that tutoring center, the Center for Student Success, as a part of the opportunities for student success.
Is this incorporated into like the advisement list? Like, do the advisors know who to talk to, or what students particularly are on the radar or are in those positions?
Yes, sir. We use EAB Navigate 360, and we now have the students have the handheld app that's on their device, so they can monitor their own progress.
Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, Dr. Young, for your presentation. What is the academic profile of that 10% that moved through the progression in 4 years? But I mean, profile, ACT score, academic discipline, GPA.
So while I don't know the exact numbers, what I can share with you, and Dr. Jackson will get to this a little bit more, Our admissions criteria are the HBCU admissions criteria, which means that a student can enroll at Southern University with at least a 2.0 GPA or an ACT score, which I don't remember, or some college credit. But they are all ORs. So you can enroll without the ACT, you can be admitted without the requisite GPA as long as you meet one of those criteria. But I can get the hard data for you.
Yeah, just so that 10%.
Gotcha.
Yes, Dr. Young, yes. You know what you are telling us, it's not new and time. I was here during the time of football school, football players were lagging behind. You know what? You know, he went around the park, talked to my chair, said, look, what can the family do to help them? Because they travel, when they come back, they may not be able to catch up. You know what my department chair did? She's still alive, but retired, Dr. Amaton. So, okay, EG, you are the young family. Can you help them out? I said, why not? On Saturday, we'll come to room 214 Higgins Hall. Those football players, we gather them, help them complete their assignment so that, or teach them so that they'll be able to take their test. We were able to move away from that part. This is the bridge you had to construct between you and the faculty. If faculty are happy, you tell them to do anything, they will do it. If I tell them to do anything, they will join me to do it. You can do it. You are doing well. Don't talk about that. I'm not going to lie. But you have to add maybe traditional flavor to this. Not everyone is capable of this technology came, from, especially those students coming from inner cities. They are not used to it. They are not used to communication. They just want to talk to person. Hey, I'm a vet, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Always. See that bridge out there? The bridge is created. So I will be looking to you
Not just
to
me,
lead
I
the
ask
effort.
not just me.
Well, you lead the faculty, so
Right.
we're looking to you
Yeah,
to
they
lead.
have to be happy for them to join you to finish the bridge.
Thank you very much, Dr. P. Is that the question now?
Thank you, Dr. Young. Just a couple of quick questions. And, for the sake of time, this is just, of course, we're just getting started with this, but you don't have to provide this right now. But one thing I'd like to know is, you say we have 36 undergraduate degree programs, and what is the student breakdown for each one of those programs?
Okay.
Number two, there's a lot that you put on display right there. I think some of it is robust. I would like a deeper dive in terms of prioritization. Some of it was high level. I think what we're looking at from university college is strictly 0 to 60.
Yep.
I think once you get more students to that third year, I think they have a line of sight on graduation. I'd like to know what our graduation percentage is of those folks that get to third year, 4 and 6 year rate. And I have one more question. It just eluded me. You talked about the tutoring centers, and I go back to, you said that the faculty, we talked about this probation alert that now faculty gets. Is that correct? Dr. Njidi, I would ask you, so is this something new? Is it something that has been ongoing?
The tutoring?
Yeah,
the tutoring center?
First off, let me back at this probation alert that the faculty is getting, that the faculty is charged with reaching out to a student and establishing some connection with them. Is that something that's new?
We've had that system since about 2017.
Okay.
We have been fully engaged with it within the last year.
Okay.
Making sure that it has the updated platform from EAB Navigate.
Okay.
But those alerts have been operational since I started in the fall of 23.
Okay. Dr. Njidi, would you say that that program is effective right now in terms of faculty reaching out to some of our students when they're at risk throughout the semester, particularly for freshmen, first to second semester. I guess the alert comes out at any time. This would apply to all students, Dr. Young?
Those who are in trouble, and it comes out at how many midways through the semester, halfway between midterm? Dr. Wicker, if you could address that.
So, yes, it's the EAP Navigate. We do 3 campaigns per term.
Okay.
To go back, we just started that fall 2024. We was also at the same time doing the maturity report that you all have, that you just saw.
Okay.
We were actually making sure the system is working properly, integrating it across all of the different platforms. So to go back to the question at hand, you have 3 progress campaigns that go out per term, and thank you for that because we actually just launched this week. Today was a campaign to go out. Each faculty member have to go through their grade book and put whatever is going on with the student, and it closes in 7 days. And once we go 7 days, we have unit care system that then kicks in, and then you have an email campaign that goes up to the students. Fall wasn't as well. Spring, we did a very good job of identifying 25% of our students after the first campaign was on track for failing one or more courses. We did an email campaign to all of the faculty and students. We asked the students to coordinate with the faculty to ensure they know what resources are available within that email. Then we put all of the tutoring service to all of the tutoring resources with links to follow through, and they got daily reminders to get it, for them to make those connections. Okay. But we can do a better job between the faculty-student alignment to ensure that we're following through what's the impact of the evaluations.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Wicker, for that. Look, for the sake of time, I won't, dive in too much, but this committee is gonna really have to dive deeper into that.
Oh, absolutely.
To ensure that we have, Dr. Njidi, what I would question, not for you to answer right now, is what type of alignment do we have with our current faculty in terms of taking on that responsibility? And then last but not least, I think at some point, Dr. Young, whatever we put in place, there has to be a comprehensive way for us to evaluate the level of success of our programs. That's going to be critical because we can do a lot, but is it the right thing at the right time? I like what I've seen here, and then for the sake of time, we'll get into deeper dives going forward. But I appreciate the time, and it seems like we got some good ideas ahead of us. Thank you.
My apologies. This is wonderful. I am completely committed to this task force. Unfortunately, I have to be across town at 5:30. So I am incredibly sorry that I am walking out. I'm very sorry I'm missing my good friend Mike's presentation. Please don't take this as a lack of commitment, but thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Young.
Thank you.
I think my voice carries it. But I was going to call him anyway, even if you were waiting for that.
I was,
Dr. Jackson.
I was waiting on the task, Doc.
I look forward to more you.
I was kind of moving around just a little bit on you guys. How you doing this evening? Chair Dr. Tarver, Vice Chair Abraham, to the task force committees. Good evening. I want to first introduce myself. I'm Dr. Anthony Jackson. I'm the Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management here at the Southern University. Next slide, please. So what I'm here to do and to discuss today is who we are, who is Enrollment Management, what are we doing? But I want to start by a story, if I may, Dr. Tarver. Just to say just a little bit, 12 years ago, there was a 5-year-old that I know very, very well. That 5-year-old received a little jaguar head cut out that he placed on his wall. And in that, when he placed that jaguar on his wall, he also continued to come visit Southern University. As he visits Southern University, I would hear him in the morning when we wake up or when we go to sleep, singing, "I'm so glad that I go to the Southern U." The 5-year-old woke up every morning singing, "I'm so glad that I go to Southern U." And what I want to say is that pride, that excellence, that tradition, the thought that that 5-year-old had, who's now 17, a senior in high school, with a 3.3. We're going to work on those other points. But he's a senior, and he's still singing, I'm so proud, I'm so glad that I go to Southern U. I want to start this presentation by saying, who are we? Who we are? We're enrollment management. Who do we comprise of? Admissions office. The admissions office is the first steps and the first thoughts for the students coming in. Admissions does not start at their freshman year. It starts off in pre-college in that senior year. From senior year all the way through the end, and all the way to graduation. From admissions, we have the recruitment. So I did not do a org chart, but my team from admissions, the recruitment, from dual enrollment, the call center, who I have, the director of call center here with me, Ms. Heather Tanner, and then the financial aid. That makes the enrollment management department. We have some subsets, but that's who we are. What I want to show you through this presentation is how all of this ties together. How do we tie together with academic affairs? How do we tie together with student affairs? And how do we tie together with the workforce management? I actually call my group, in our test group, I call my group the pioneers. And why do I call the group the pioneers? Is because the pioneers is a person or a group who originates and helps open up new lines, right, of thought, activities, or methods or technologies, right, to enhance or develop. So I call my directors, my group, the pioneers, because we're making sure that we chart new territory. Because there are things out there that we need to make sure that we revisit. Also, things that we need to make sure that we improve on. One thing that was said before is we talked about admissions criteria. Admissions criteria, I will say, similar to what we had said before, Southern University is, although we don't say it, Southern University is open admissions. We're test option. And I want to make sure that I say it and put it out there so everybody, as we continue through this work and through this program, but through this task force, we understand those requirements, we understand where we're going, we understand the how. All right, so Board of Regents have 19 core units that you have to have if you pass, if you graduate from Louisiana, a Louisiana school. If a student has that and a 2.0, they can be accepted, at least a 2.0. We have other criteria, but what we're looking at moving forward, we want that student because we, like as Chancellor Pierre said before, we have to understand where Southern University first offer steps were, the beginning, although we do want to continue to attract those students with the high ACT, high SAT. And now we have another test, CLT, that the state has just adopted. So make sure that I share that information with you. But also we have the HiSET that students can take to make sure that they're accepted into the university. So next slide, please. So enrollment management, the roles, all right? What we want to make sure pre-admissions starts in high school. What I want to make sure that we do is communicate to the students, make sure that they are being responded to. The biggest thing that I see that we were not doing before I became in this role, got in this role, is that responsiveness. So what we've created is several communication plans to make sure we streamline the connection and continue to talk to those students to make sure that we work on those pathways. How do we connect to those students? What we do is we meet them where they are. We meet them in their space. We meet them and talk to them like they would talk. Not necessarily a dancer, so you're not going to see me on TikTok dancing, okay? But we're going to make sure that we connect with the students. How do we use data-driven insights? So what I'm making sure that we're doing now as we move forward, I've created in those communication plans, we're now tracking the students that we are recruiting. We're tracking them from the high school. We're tracking them from the events. We're tracking them even when they're coming on a college campus. we're making sure we track the data. We want to make sure that we're talking to those students and making sure that we're putting them we're showing them that we're going to support them before they even come to Southern University. That's big. Why is that big? Because we're now communicating to the parents. We're communicating to the mom and dad who have the questions. We opened up a call center to make sure that anybody that's calling Southern University, and I know I'm gonna get a question about that, that's calling us, we want to make sure that we respond. Again, I said responsiveness is a huge thing that we have to make sure that we continue to uphold. And then what we want to make sure that we do is be a resource for academic affairs, the enrollment area. So how do we be a resource? One thing that we started this year and last year is we send emails to faculty, the deans, because recruitment is not just enrollment management, it's all of us. It's the fabric of what we used to say X and pride and tradition is. It's the fabric of us telling those stories of those graduates, the graduates who have graduated from Southern University and are continuing on. It's the partnerships with academic affairs, it's partnerships with student affairs. How do we partner with them to make sure that we continue to move on? What that helps with those partnerships, it helps improve our student readiness, our retention, and progressiveness, progression, and our graduation rates. So as enrollment managers, we're not only bringing them in, we want to make sure that we carry them through graduation. With new things that today, with the new laws and new things that are being pushed down, I think there's a time for us in this committee to make sure that we kind of break down those things. How do we break down the new FAFSA information? How do we break down what's going on in the federal government? How do we make sure that our students understand? What I will tell you is that we have a communication plan and a strategy behind that. Next slide, please. This is a slide that I went back and forth on because I know once you give them numbers, you give numbers, people ask questions. So here it is, task force members. What I want you guys to see is that 2023, 24, and 25, what you should see is a continued and a successful progression of more students coming to Southern University. Now, I also want to put a pin in that. It's not just about the students coming to Southern University, it is about us keeping them here. How do we keep those students? How do we communicate with academic affairs? What are those scores that they're coming in with, as Vice Chair said? How do we get that better student? So the 23, we improved, 24, we improved just a little bit more, and look at us now, we're at 25. So when those students, we're currently in year 25, we're at 7,662. My report I just received gave us a little bit more. But if all of these students continue through Southern University, the freshman class, we would have 2,177 students that came to Southern as a freshman class this year. I think that's great. If you look at the previous years, last year, the 2023, we had 1,499 at this time. This time last year, today, we have 2,177. So I think the staff in admissions and recruitment, they've done a pretty good job. What we are trying to make sure, and as someone asked me, how do you think that you got those numbers, or that you were as successful? What I told them is that it's the communications. One thing that we're doing now is definitely communicating, we're texting, we're meeting them again where they are. So how does the university view in growth and enrollment? What are we doing? How are we communicating to academic affairs? One of the things, how are we adding those courses that the students need? We do have students that don't necessarily have the high ACT, but how are we meeting those needs? So I think it's very important as we continue with this work, we understand the students that we bring in. So I do know that is a priority of ours. Next slide, please. So some of our strategic priorities, streamline, seamless student experiences. What we want to make sure that we do is we eliminate the barriers for the students coming in. So what the team has done through future Dr. Heather Tanner, my other staff members, we are using every bit of AI that we can. We want to make sure that we invest and grow our systems so we can make sure that we're reporting out reports to the board, to Dr. Young, Dr. Wicker. How do we work together with academic affairs? Other part that we're doing is trying to do some better marketing. We're trying to reach those students. When I say that better marketing, you guys should have received a book that we're using as part of our recruitment materials this year. This book right here. So I did want to share it with you, but as we move forward, we're going to continue, we're going to start this whole process of re-engineering the mailing system. That's one thing that we stopped before. We stopped mailing. But also, we want to make sure that the students that we're recruiting, they understand how our workforce, how our majors align with the workforce development in the state and what they want to do. Next slide, please. Dr. Tarver, I know I'm probably over. I'm about to end real fast, okay? Growth strategies. So, you know, some of the things that we're trying to do that we've done, again, using AI, Slate, we've implemented the Slate process. What that is our new CRM for admissions. Another thing, partnering with Dr. Wicker, Dr. Young, and Vice Chancellor Walton, we're talking about partnering with them with Navigate. Another tool that we're going to be using is Ed Advisory. That's one tool that we're going to be using to help with the transcripts and how we incorporate this. All right. We're going to get a better understanding and understand the new laws, like I said before, but also how are we going to increase the partnerships between the academic affairs, student affairs, and university college. Next slide, please. So these are some of our strategic priorities. I will share with you the slides. I know that I'm running over, Doc, so I will make sure that I go over. The really thing that I want to make sure is we talk about consistent communication, in and out. Once we get the students here, when we get the students here, we want to make sure we have consistent communication before, and when they get here, we want to make sure they have consistent communications. How do we do that with these students, with our students? What is our investment? What I'm looking for is making sure that we have a better investment in marketing. Part of our strategic priorities is when we align with workforce development, there's a program called SEES. SEES is a partnership that the Southern University grads come back and they actually partner with students. And they have conversations with students about the current trends in the industry. That's great. We need to do more of it. Next slide, please. All right. So from enrollment, university college equals student success. Student success have to be at the middle and our mindset of, and we have to have a shared mission. How do we share this mission of student success from them coming in to graduation? We have to make sure that we have a collaboration effort between the institutions, not only Southern University, but our sister institutions, Susler, SUNO. If we're recruiting, how do we make sure we create a pathway to make sure that those students can come on over into Southern University? So we really have to just really set on that. Outcomes, if we're able to do this, the outcome is an increased progression and retention and graduation work rates while we're meeting the workforce demands. Last thing I say, by aligning enrollment with the university college, we can create a seamless student journey that begins before admissions and continues through graduation and career readiness. Together, we can elevate Southern University as a model of student success. Thank you.
Any questions? Dr. Jackson? Hearing none, thank you so very much. Louis.
I'm sorry.
I don't have a question, I just have a few comments, and only to say what I expect the task force and the recruitment and admissions committee to take a deeper dive into. And it would be to address something that very recently, with the fall admissions and with our increased enrollment and our seemingly not being prepared for this increase. And I'm curious to know what the breakdown might have been, not for you to get into that right now, but these are the things that I think I would like to know moving forward. The information that you get about admissions and predicting how many students are coming, and we have an increase in enrollment. At what point do you know? At what point do you share this information, and with whom? And then from where does it go? And how do we effectively be prepared for our students when they get here. The other thing is a deeper dive also into the call center to see the progress that's being made, what is the problem there. And one other, how many recruiters do we have?
So we currently have 5 recruiters. So let me make sure that I say this, that Vice Chancellor Thomas has signed documents for us to get additional two recruiters. So we're working on right now, actually going through that process.
What software do they use, and what data, software data do they use in deciding where to go and how they plan their recruitment strategy?
So what we've used is we're using Slate. So we put all our information into Slate. So what I can tell you is that from certain areas, what we receive students, what schools we're receiving from, and that's how we attack. We use that strategy to kind of go to those students, get those students. What we did before, what we're doing this year is, as a new year, we're actually putting all that information in Slate, and we're tracking each fair. So as we go through the years, we get better in our system. We get more comfortable. So now we're tracking each fair. So I'll be able to tell this committee next year how many students we actually got from certain fairs. Where did we get these students from? Where did we see them? What was the first touch? So that's what we're tracking now. So as we go through the system, we're actually developing and get better.
Okay, well, there are some other things. I think there are a lot of issues that we're going to get into as this task force moves along, and I look forward to it.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Mr. Abraham.
Quick question, Dr. Jackson. This increase in enrollment looks like we have, I saw maybe 600 or 700 students. So what's the dollar impact on that in terms of revenue? 600 more students. Do we have an idea? I think Chancellor, maybe you might have that, the dollar impact, or maybe even Desiree, would you have that? 600, oh, I'm sorry. I know it'd be hard. I mean, it's gonna have some deviation in just a roundabout number.
I'm going to tell you about $2.5 million.
On 600 students?
Yeah, so it's hard because I can't look at it just from his numbers. I do see it though, the out-of-state fees that are charged and that type of thing, so.
Okay. Good deal, good deal. I appreciate that. It's the impact of losing students is far beyond just failing students, right? So you have the failed student perspective, but you also have the missed revenue perspective that we continue to talk about getting more revenue. We don't focus enough on retaining revenue that we have on site. Like that is so impactful, right? This is the business model for us to adopt. We'll talk more about that going forward. Because it has to be a relentless focus on that. Any business that you run, I can tell you the one I work in, missed revenue, it would be a difficult conversation. And we have to focus on that. I just wanted to make that comment.
Mr. Vice Chair, I think it's important for us to say the specific number, which if I remember correctly, it was over $30 million
Yeah, Paul, we talked about it at the retreat.
Exactly, so
Yeah, it was
that's
a
the
long,
number, yeah, that's the number.
yeah, it was a long, we did a deeper dive in the retreat. We'll talk more about that as the committee goes, but that is profound. $30 billion, what type of impact would that have collectively, across our entire system? So, again, thank you, Dr. Jackson. We'll talk more. This is why we're here. We're here because of a reason, right? It's not the prettiest picture. Let's be honest and transparent about it. But here's an opportunity for us to correct. And I think this task force is certainly going to move in that direction. So, thank you again, Dr. Jackson. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Does that complete your presentation?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your time, contribution. We'd like to invite Dr. Carl Walton, Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, for his presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank the Dr. Tarver and Task Force and board members for the opportunity to address student affairs for you today. I'm going to be pretty sort of holistic. I see student affairs as a bridge between the other divisions on campus because we see the students, we're primarily responsible for them, so we sort of catch it all. And so I'm hoping that what my presentation will do is show ways in which we as a division are working to do that and to do that effectively. Just quickly, the areas of responsibility in student affairs, student leadership and engagement, the student union, housing and residence life, student media, the health center, the counseling center, intramural sports and recreation, student conduct, and my new Office of Community Outreach and Professional Engagement, which I'll address a bit during the presentation. So, broadly, what we want, campus communication as it relates to addressing the needs of students, community, bringing the entire Southern University family into that, and then ultimately connection between campus and alumni. And when I say entire Southern family, I'm talking about even our parents who are increasingly wanting to be engaged and involved. And with regard to communication, realizing that as our population has grown, we have our on-campus students, which are the most easy to contact, but also continuing to work to formulate ways in which we are able to connect with our commuter students as well, and our online students. Next slide, please. So areas of possibility, and I call them areas of possibility because these are areas I don't like to say concern. They're areas of possibility for us. We know that one of our biggest challenges, probably the biggest challenge in student affairs, is housing and the lack of housing. And of course, we feel it most during the summer and in August up through we get everybody in. But we have 2,200 beds. So that's ongoing, and we're working to continue to deal with that. Student union improvements and a roof repair. These are things that people hear about. That is ongoing as well. Roof is being repaired. Revamp of social cultural elements on campus. By that I mean some of the concerns that people are having with regard to how our students sometimes like to express themselves in social media outside of campus. Sometimes things that are said are deemed inappropriate at best. And so I take it as a part of what we have to do as a part of our education to begin to figure out ways to address those kinds of things. And finally, enhance student satisfaction. We will be meeting next week on Wednesday, meeting with a group of students with the Hanover group, which we are contracted with, to discuss student satisfaction. And a survey will go out before the end of this semester. There will be a comprehensive survey to the student body that will give us a real up-close, micro-level view on what's going on. The difference in this survey and the others is that generally they have been put together by people, probably administrators, faculty, staff, or even from the organizations. This year, under Dr. Apining's leadership with that, we stressed that we need to have students as a part of the formulation of the survey. So our Student Government Association President, Mr. Inman, our Vice President of Student Government Association, our head of the Men's Federation, Association of Women Students, head, our Chief Justice, and our head of JAB are the students who will serve on that committee. And we're actually having our first meeting on next Wednesday. to assure that the student voice is heard and is reflected in that document that will go out. Now, these are some of the things that we have going on, are ongoing and in progress to address some of what I called our possibilities. Enhanced Revamp Week of Welcome to focus on Southern traditions and decorum. The Southern Man and the Southern Woman through incorporating the Association of Women Students and Men's Federation. Those two groups represent the entire student body with regard to those populations, so bringing them into it. Had a conversation last week with the Chancellor about trying to reestablish convocations. At least one in the fall and one in the spring, so that we can bring the entire student body together and so that we can start out on one page. As our campus has grown, it's very difficult to get people into one space. The only place we can do that is the Benito, quite frankly. And so it becomes very difficult. In the meantime, what we've established to do through Chancellor Pierre's agreement is work with Dr. Young to bring the student success classes that he'll meet with them in groups. So these will be chats with the Chancellor. So these are all our efforts to begin to get us on the same page and to bring unity. We're launching an alumni speaker series this fall during homecoming week called Conversations on the Bluff. And that's going to be something, and our inaugural one will be on Tuesday, October 14th at 11 a.m. in the Student Union. And our speaker, I guess we can put it out there, is the homecoming committee okay with that? The speaker will be, our first speaker will be Lodrick Collins, class of 2000. He currently is an actor, stage and screen, currently appears on Tyler Perry's The Oval. So he's in that show. So this is someone who was a mass comm major and who's out doing it in the industry. And so we think that's going to be very important. And that's going to be moderated by Ms. Darby Smith, who is my Director of Community Outreach and Parental Engagement, who's also from the Southern, et cetera. So next thing, enhanced parental engagement. The website portal is phase 1, which we are midway of launching, which it's available out there, but there are some great elements that we work with Carrier and Ms. Smith are working on that, and that will be fully launched very, very soon. We're excited about that because we realize that it is important that we communicate with our parents and that we let them know what's going on. We don't let them know they begin to get worried about things. So we're going to do more with that. Next slide, please. And the staff person dedicated to parental engagement, as in Ms. Smith, who's here. Enhanced leadership development training and initiatives in areas of need. That launches this year. We've done extensive training in anti-hazing this year. Of course, we all know what happened. And so in response to that, we've trained the faculty, we've trained the staff, we trained the new students, we trained athletes, we trained band. And next week, during National Anti-Hazing Week, we will have sessions with all the members of Greek letter organizations, as well as members of our other registered student organization members. Because what we realize in this era is that even the organizations that are non-Greek lettered have membership intake processes. So we have to train everybody and make sure that everyone understands what is and is not appropriate with regard to bringing members into organizations. The continued focus on health, mental and physical, and wellness via our health center, our counseling center, and our intramural sports and recreation area. And the early communication about housing availability in the process. Do we want to move to prioritize first-year students? I'm going to speak that. Move to prioritize first-year students. And that's something that I know will be discussed more in this forum and beyond what we can do today. Programmatic cooperation. One of the things that my background prior to going to student affairs was in academic affairs. I'm a faculty member first before I went into administration about 16 years ago on the student affairs side. Excited this semester to be teaching a class for my first time here at Southern, so I'm enjoying being back in the classroom in the evenings. But anyway, programmatic cooperation. This is where student affairs and academic affairs are working very closely together. On the Complete College America Accelerator Program and the Momentum Initiative. Now, we've all heard about Momentum, and you've probably heard about Complete College America, although not so much from me. But under Complete College America, there are 4 focus areas, 3 of which we're focusing on right now. Advising pathways in general education. The next one is strategic financing. But for this semester, we're going to deal with those three. And then Momentum, which is the Board of Regents initiative, which actually comes under the umbrella of Complete College America. And in that regard, we focus on choice and pathways. Those are going to all be enhanced. I've gone a couple of slides, I'm sorry. And the next one, yes, and the next one. Those are going to be enhanced. Our ability to serve in that area is going to be enhanced by the additional academic advisors that have come about. Because the whole idea is that students come in, the quicker that we get them on the path, the more effective they're going to be. So that's where we are. Pilot groups for these initiatives. My co-leader of the Pathways section under Complete College Accelerator is Dr. Leland Martin, Dean of the College of Science and Engineering. So we are working, and that college will be our pilot group to test the Complete College Accelerator. And then each semester we'll add another college. But we're going to begin there. And then the Human Jukebox Marching Band. One of the conversations that I had with Board Member Gaines was about looking at the impact of being on campus versus not being on campus, and whether that had an impact on student performance success. So that's a group that we're able to track the data down to that amount. And so we'll go from there. We're going to see what happens with that group, and then we'll go from there with regard to our formulation of data with regard to where we go with our policy around housing. Finally, the outcomes that we hope to have, enhancement of communication, knowledge across areas, and cooperation. And I mean knowledge about everything that's going on campus in ways that all of our students will see it and will know it. Knowing that at this current time, we have a lot of students off campus, we have to really look at ways to message in ways that are positive, and that we don't rely on those ways that can go less positive. Don't have all the answers, but I'll be working with my student media team to figure that out. Enable students to make informed choices about their careers. The more effective we are with their Complete College and Momentum, the more they will be informed. And Ms. Montgomery will be pleased with that as these students begin to come to her to try to get to where they want to go professionally. Clear pathway from enrollment to graduation. The quicker that a student can see the way out, the more likely the student is committed to the process. And finally, a total learning environment that displays cooperation and communication through the campus community and beyond. While in those areas, student affairs may not have the primary responsibility, we see ourselves as very, very active partners in all of that, across all the divisions. And we strive, will do everything that we can do to assure that we are complementing what goes on in the classroom as we go about our leadership development, growth, and activities. With that, that concludes. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions? I'm sorry, Dr. Eugene.
Yeah.
Dr. Ward.
Yeah.
It's not my number.
Oh, sorry, can't I cut the chat off? Oh, you can't cut the chat off.
This is not to finish your presentation. No. You listed 5 areas of possibility.
Yeah.
Do you really have the resources to accomplish that? Or you are just telling us, these areas?
The only area, so at this point, well, we know where we are with housing, and we are working, we currently, we are working with housing possibilities. So me singularly, no, but I am very much a part of the work to try to move towards this eventual new residence hall that will happen on campus. The student union improvements, yes. The roof is being repaired. Once the roof is repaired, and that's in progress right now. Once that is repaired, then we will go about doing the inside work on the union to bring the union back to where we need it to be. Revamping of social cultural elements, absolutely, that's what my division is there to do. And so we just have to begin to be constantly more and more creative about how to do that, right? And as our students change, we have to change with them. One of the responses to that is having a parent office to reach out to their parents, because parents are increasingly influential on their students and on their day-to-day. We have parents who are doing their student schedules. We have parents that call if their child has a problem, they don't leave it to the student anymore, they call. And so parents have full access to their students' U numbers, IDs, and everything. So that's, and then the enhanced student enhanced student satisfaction. I addressed that with regard to next week's meeting. So yes, we are actively engaged in that, and I put things in that we are actively engaged in, we'll be able to move forward with.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. So, for example, I want to know the application of that. So I have 16 devices, identical devices, all with a different MAC address or plug in.
He looking outside, it's like the call of the wild right there.
Take that thing and plug in a dozen of these things.
You could,
No, you're
be able to control the parameters of that each one.
as long as they're what they call PoE, Ethernet.
Change agents, access and opportunity, transformational institution,
So-
Chancellor Pierre. The hard truth.
This would send power to them to each.
It could,
All
yeah.
these comments were made and actually suggest the things that we have to really
Like
move
some
forward in terms
devices,
of producing what we can do.
for cottage
Makes the
cameras.
university even greater.
They got PoE.
I'm truly excited about this particular piece of the conversation because it actually aligns in terms of what we say about innovation.
What I'm specifically talking about is
Student enrichment activities. And actually, one of the things we're going to talk about is, where is the money? Now, you're going to see some big numbers up there.
this is a
But those
speaker
numbers are
system,
not necessarily as big as they could be.
built-in amplifiers, and
The way that I use Celso University,
there's a
I'll go
plug-in,
out and say that there are
you
2,000
loop in and loop out. Unfortunately,
two-year institutions, universities in the United States. Then I come back and I say that there are approximately 100
they all have their
HBCUs.
own.
Now I can say that there are approximately
Be able to control
18, 19 universities, HBCUs,
amount.
that are
Again,
Multiple.
land grant,
snake
that have college of business, engineering,
that device,
and those
each one,
types of degree programs.
and then I'll be control.
Today, I can even say that there now are only 13 of those that are actually the first 18, but now are considered R2s as well. But those in itself are not necessarily the things that draw students to these places anymore. Because it's easier to say, I'm Southern University. But there are so many things that we have to have in place to be able to retain and grow our institution. And one of them is actually two of the pillars, at least that I know that Miles is mostly responsible for in terms of the pillars, in terms of supporting student success and revenue generation. We're going to focus on those particular conversations in my work group, so I'm so excited about it. One of the reasons is because we're always charged about how can we do things differently and more aggressively. But one of the things that was actually mentioned by Dr. Ejigi was about the staying powers of it. And our chair, Dr. Tarver, about essentially we start and stop. So I'm excited about creating recommendations that the university can truly use, that we can actually have benchmarks and KPIs to move it forward. But it has to be different and aggressive. The next slide, please. So my office is small but impactful in terms of the areas that we support. Outreach and research engagement, working more so with the faculty and the students. Strategic engagement, government contracting, and front-facing space for public-private partnerships, something the Chancellor mentioned earlier, but also working in a different space in terms of contracting. Sponsoring programs that support the research administration and working with the 60-plus researchers here at the university. Then finally, our Small Business Development Center that works directly with agencies such as the Louisiana Workforce Commission, the Louisiana Economic Development, Small Business Administration, and so forth. So all those different pieces actually provide us a pathway where we can be a supportive tool to the institution. So again, I do look forward to the charge that's been placed in front of us in terms of innovation, partnership development. Next slide, please. So these are the numbers, right? $43 million in new awards in 24-25 this past fiscal year. So these are all new awards that our faculty and research institutions received just in that one particular year. We submitted $65 million worth of proposal requests. We're able to obtain 43 million of it.
This would be the same thing,
So even with the new awards,
just different brand.
we actually have on our books $90 million of active awards currently operating. So what does it
from the computer?
It represents
And then the other 12
to the speakers.
to the speaker.
Because that's what we're supposed to be doing, teaching, right? But faculty, students, infrastructure as it relates to labs,
One other thing.
as it relates to equipment, as it relates to research experience for our students.
Rolling
Then there are also
left side
represents
speakers and the
we
same
actually generate
controlling
on behalf of the university for its operations.
the
So
computer.
$12 million over the last 5 years in terms of
Switch
operating dollars.
one or two or three or small.
We can do better in terms of being able
That
to
would go.
maybe double that.
That small one
right?
would go to this.
So that would be one of our strategic goals.
Have a software that's
The question would be, how long will it take us to get there? So how can Southern University generate $100 million in new awards that would directly impact the amount that you see right there in terms of indirect costs, maybe doubling it to $24 million? Next slide, please. So our small business in terms of research and how we support business. Our Small Business Development Center is actually the store award for the state of Louisiana, the one hosted by our university, was #1 in the state. $9.3 million in terms of how they help small business obtain funding. Startup business, 22 new startups, about 70 jobs created, capital fusion, $9.3 million overall. The #1 performing small business center in the state of Louisiana is here at Southern University. Next slide, please. So I really wanted to show you this particular slide because it's representative of one particular faculty, right? But it shows how this one person is actually impacting and supporting students. But it's true of all the different faculty members here as well. He started as a student at Southern University, undergraduate student as a major in mechanical engineering. He went off to work at one of the national labs here at Southern University, in Tennessee, Y12, the DOE National Security Complex. Went on to get his PhD at the University of Tennessee. Then he came back to work for Southern University as a project manager for one of our men and protege projects, one of the contracts that our office actually managed. And now he's back here at Southern University faculty. But how do we actually utilize the services and expertise of someone like this to support what we want to be able to do?
They can hear, but they can't see slides.
Next slide. So, faculty research, you see Dr. Fareed Dewan in the corner over there, one of our most recent patents. So all this is just patent research. So this is just in the last couple of years here. So we're excited about the innovation that comes out of the institution as well. Next slide. Now I want to show you this because this is one great example here in terms of how we can work with financial aid. Now you can't see the words in there, but this is actually a program we can take financial aid dollars, Pell Grants, work study programs, and use that to allow our students to be able to work in companies, to be able to allow international travel. So how can we be innovative in terms of how we can use those already developed dollars that our students are eligible for to give them more experiential learning opportunities? Next slide, please. Then student research, the monies I showed you about $11.5 million just for participant support. Those are stipends and scholarships that our students are able to receive from grants and sponsored projects. Next slide. So these are the areas that we hope to grow in terms of university research infrastructure, where we have operations policy that actually what we say is what we do. Administration is where sponsored research actually support what we say what we do by executing it. The development turns out we support our faculty and our staff. And innovation is how we actually are stewards of place, working with the community. Next slide. So I'm not going to belabor these particular pieces, but these are some of the components of administration: indirect cost generation, grants, development management, institutional research policy. Next slide. And then development piece: faculty and student engagement, workforce, K-12 initiatives, community. So all these things are things we'll touch on in our working group. Sorry. Next slide. And then innovation piece, right? This is what I'm always excited about too. How do we actually work with the private sector? Next slide. Last slide. That was the next slide. So we look forward to the conversation. We look forward to finding the solutions and actually implementing those recommendations. So I thank you for your time. Yes, sir. Mhm.
I have not asked for questions because I understand that we have some online viewers who have not been able to participate, and it's going to be incumbent upon us to develop a platform by which to address that in the future. I recognize we were running on a short time, but since it's our first meeting, we could not estimate the amount of time we needed. But I'm sure that all of those of you who make presentations in the future will at least accommodate to us and try to make sure that we get this done correctly. On the next item of the agenda is very small for me about closing steps. What we had hoped to do was to learn from this experience today, both from the presentations that are given, the questions that are asked, the responses that we're getting. And we have a school of people here in this audience that are documenting and writing narratives about all of that. What we're hoping to do is to aggregate all of that to provide, to make available to our teams, uh, both here in this audience, and of course those who are not present today. So for those of you who have been listening to us and participating, we're happy to know that you're there, and we will certainly make it a point to recognize you on our very next meeting, and we'll develop something on that. You'll be hearing from us in the future. I understand that there's another affair that's going to be going on this campus very shortly. So I wish you well in the participation in all of that. Any other comment or departure? Well, thank you very much for participating. It's been a great first meeting, and we'll know better about that when we start trying to analyze the impact of your presentations. So thank you very much, and we'll see you again at our next meeting. Hopefully, the third Thursday corresponds with the board meetings of the Board of Supervisors, okay? Thank you very much.
Good meeting.
Oh, well, got through that one. But, that's what happens when